Hello there, I'm Daniele. I'm the developer of a weird dinosaur ecological survival game that has been on Steam since 10 years, for over 10 years today. And I wanted to take the opportunity of the anniversary, of the 10th anniversary of Dino System being on Steam in early access to celebrate, although there is nothing to celebrate because it's a game that has been in early access for 10 years. So some people would say there is nothing to celebrate. But I'm here today to address the fact that the game has been on Steam for so many years and to explain the direction I want to bring the game to. I've been in a very rough time of late. If you follow my devlogs or the announcements on Steam, you know that I recently lost both my father the last year and my mother recently in April. So it's a very strange period of my life in which I had to reinvent myself. I had to reassess everything in my life. I've spent the last few years caring for my parents, especially my father, who was bedridden for 2 years. And I took this time to solely focus on the game. I've fired myself from my previous job. I had a job in a gym where I was a trainer, and I had to leave that job to stay at home with my father. And I started working again on the game, on Dino System, because I was not working on the game very often. I was working on it. I've been working on Dino System since 2017, 18 till 2 years ago. Very, very part-time, because I had a full-time job working in a gym. So when I went back home and I had some spare time, I resumed the work on my game. Also during the night, I used to work on the system. So I used to be basically a zombie during the day at the gym, which was, as you can imagine, was not great for my workouts either. So what's going on now? I have a clear idea of what I want to implement to bring Dino System to the final 1.0 version. And there is a list that I'm writing and that I want to follow until the game is complete. Some things in this list are optional. I don't know if I will be able to implement them, and others are absolutely must-haves. Are absolutely necessary for completing my vision of the game. What drives me to develop the game in this way is not the need for money or the need for the game being sold or successful, but it's uniquely my vision of this game. I've been this vision for a game for my whole life, basically. I was like 11 years old when I watched a documentary on the BBC about dinosaurs. This documentary was Walking with Dinosaurs. It was, I think, it was out in 1999, if I recall. And this documentary is, as far as I know, the best dinosaur documentary ever made. Not for the scientific accuracy, because of course it's updated now, but because of the emotions that it created in me, and I presume in many other viewers. So I started to plan when I was 11 and 12 a board game about an ecosystem with dinosaurs, basically. So there was this board game with rules, with set rules, specific rules about dinosaurs mating and eating and hunting and reproducing, laying eggs, and with vegetation spreading, etc. So it was a very rough concept of a game, but I used to play it with my friends. So that's how Dino System started. And I kept this idea, this dream of making this game the rest of my life, for the rest of my life, until I was able to finally start working on it, start working on an actual video game. I picked the easiest engine there was on the market, Construct 2, and I just started laying the foundations of this game. And things evolved because I had no past experience in developing anything, basically. I had just experience in modding other games, like Skyrim, for example. I modded Skyrim and I created a modding community for Skyrim, modding manual, which is still relevant today. It's called Skyrim Total Enhancement Project. And that's all my experience, basically. So I've learned on the way to make this game. And I made a lot of mistakes. I created a lot of mechanics and features that later I had to scrap in order to rebuild them in a better way, in a more efficient way, and so on. So that's another reason for why this game is taking and took so long to be made and to be out of early access. I reckon it will be in early access for at last another year or another 6 months at very last, possibly another year. But of course that's not a promise, because I'm now working on one major last feature mechanic needed for the game to be considered 1.0 in my view, in my vision. And this feature is the emergent narrative. I want the game to have to give some kind of purpose to the player, which is not set in stone, which is not linear, but is totally emergent and is totally dynamic. Building such a system is very complex because there have to be many variables involved and many possible interactions of variables and of scenarios that create this kind of narrative in the game, and thus give the player a purpose, some kind of sense of purpose, a sense of progression that doesn't simply derive from the increase in statistics or the passing of days of years in the game, but is deriving from an actual narrative, an actual story that unfolds before the player's eyes and in their brain, basically. So that's what I'm building now, and that's the major feature I think must be in the game before 1.0. The game now is, yes, it's bare bones in some ways, because you can build a shelter. You will struggle to survive the first days. You will struggle to build a shelter, even if you are expert in the game, because the game is very hard, especially in realistic or roguelite difficulties. But after you do that, the game is very easy because there is nothing else to guide your purpose, your sense of purpose, to drive your sense of purpose. Yes, you can survive the asteroid, you can set your own goals like hunting a T-Rex or cooking many jerkies, many meat pieces, etc. But those are all personal achievement that you set for yourself. I want something that is less personal, but it's still dynamic, it's still emergent, it's still not linear. So that's why I'm building this new system, the emergent narrative. Other than the emergent narrative, I want to add a few things that I think must be in the game before 1.0. For example, I want to add another catastrophe like the volcanic explosion, the volcanic eruption, and the related aftermath. And then a few other content related things like new roofs, and some new items, possibly. Maybe a new dinosaur or a new animal. I have to decide yet because I don't know how long I will take. The emergent narrative will take, but this is in my list. Another thing that will require some time to be implemented is the localization, the ability to localize the game. The problem with localization is not translating the game. That's easy. Everyone can translate, even if you don't know the language. There is ChatGPT. There are many ways to translate. The problem is that the game was not conceived to be translated. Therefore, there is not a system that allows me to just send a file to someone who wants to translate the game and implement this file in the game to have the game translated, like a JSON file. The game has not such system, and I have to build this kind of system in the game and move all the strings in the game, everything from alerts to tooltips to icon names, button names, to this JSON file in order to have this translated in any language I want in the future. So this will also require some work, probably like around a month to be done. Then after this, I can effortlessly translate the game in any language. And then I think the game will be ready to be 1.0. There is, of course, many little improvements and tweaks and fixes that need to be made, but I will make them along the way, as always. As you can see from my Steam announcements, I always make a lot of tweaks and balance changes and improvements, and I always try to follow the feedback the community gives, although it's very small and there are just few players playing all the time. About the marketing side, as many indie developers, I'm not good at marketing, and guess what? I hate marketing. But I created a plan for marketing the game when it will be close to be ready. Okay, it will be few months close to 1.0. So yes, I will push on that side as well, because why don't? You need to do that if you want your game to be successful. And I want this game to be successful, not just because I want to earn some money from it, but because it's basically my life work. It's basically something I've dreamed from childhood, and I want to see completed in the best possible way, and I want it to reach as many people as possible. And I want my vision to be shared in some way and to be enjoyed to people that can enjoy it, of course, that can appreciate it as much as possible. So that was my celebration, my 10th anniversary of Dino System on Steam. It's not finished yet. There is still work to do. I'm working on it close to full time now, and I will finish it no matter what. See you soon.